This video was made possible by you. If you want to save time and support what I do, check the link in the description that will take you to my store where you can purchase the source file for what we're creating in this video, as well as other tutorials on my channel. Thank you for your support, and let's get back to the video. In this video, we're going to continue working on our yes-no decision interaction, and we're going to start working on the interactive wireframe. So here's hopefully where we're going to identify interaction issues and move this closer to the final product. Let's get started. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is just copy this screen with everything, enter and delete, so we can start from scratch. And here I'm thinking we could actually, even though we're not working on the visual design yet, I think we could try and make this dark mode. I think that could look nice. So I'm just going to change the background of the default screen to dark gray. And then I'm going to create our actual button or lever. So I'm going to make this probably like, I don't know, 315, something like that. 315. Center to be equally distant from both sides. Maybe 313 to have it just at 40, right? I'm going to round the corners. This is not the final visual design, so I'm going to go very light on the visual details. But with that in mind, let me just use the text tool and type in yes and center it and make sure the text style is, I don't know, H2, let's say. Center again. And then no, that's going to be H2 as well, right? Both of these are going to be like 48 points from the button, I think that could be. And we could duplicate this and go for yes 01. And I think we could also duplicate this again and do no 01. We're gonna kind of copy this flow, right? And I think this is what the no state, no 01 could look like. I think we could move this, towards the no. In this case, we want to move this towards the yes, like this, probably. And at the same time, probably gonna move this like 32 from the bottom edge of the, in this case, from the top edge of the lever, from the main button. And I think I'm gonna use the dark color for these options. And now let's do our first test. Let's do actually prototype and flow starting point. This could be yes, no interaction. And I am going to, first of all, I'm going to launch the prototype, and we should get another flow starting point, which is the yes, no interaction. Brilliant. And what I'm going to do next is select this element, and I'm just going to keep all of them named, have the proper naming. So I'm going to rename this one on all the screens. So I shift selected all of these, right? Shift click on all these, Command R, and then say lever. I will then select the lever on the first slide, go to prototype, and connect that to the yes 01. And I'm going to do on drag, navigate to yes 01. Okay. And we're going to do smart animate ease out 300 milliseconds. Let's see what that's going to do if I reset the prototype. Okay. So you can see that we're now able to click and drag this lever and move it closer to yes, and not to no though, but to yes. And when we go probably more than 50% beyond the path of this drag interaction, we can then release, and it's gonna give us yes, right? And we're gonna stay in this state. Similar to this, basically, to this interaction we just set up, I'm gonna go to prototype again and do the second on drag interaction. I'm gonna do on drag, navigate to no 01, smart animate ease out. So now I should be able to do this, right? That's one side, that's the other side. I'm not able to drag this all the way through from like this position all the way to no, but I think that's a very minor limitation. I don't mind, to be honest. I think that's not that big of a deal. So, but the main thing is we can now go both to yes and no. And I do like how it's being, interactive, how it's kind of moving closer to the option, that the option is actually moving closer to us when we are moving this around. Okay, so that's pretty nice. And then I think we should somehow include, of course, let me do like H4 or maybe even body 1. We could somehow include like, do you wish to do, let's just say, do you agree with whatever was described in the previous slide, right? Something like that. That could work, I think. And I think this could be a bit bigger than body 1. It could be even H3, but at the same time, I think the bold text is just too much. On the other hand, now that I look at it, I think H4 is going to be plenty. Yeah, I think this is going to be enough. So H4 with different bolding. Okay, so that's going to be definitely needed there. And let me just do one line. It's going to be actually the same width as the screen. It's going to be 393. I don't know if the final result is going to contain a line, to be honest. But for now, let's just keep a line to somehow visually separate the information, the question part, and the actual interaction part. So let me just take this and copy this onto both the frames, the remaining frames, so that when we interact with that, we still see the question, right? Awesome. Let's not overcomplicate things. And I'm going to just borrow this close button from our prototype, from our scheme. So I'm just going to make sure it's going to be 32 points from the top right edge. And I think we could go slightly smaller on this one. I think we could go for 16. Yeah, I think this is pretty good. 1, I guess. And again, I'm gonna paste this on all the screens. Before I do that though, I think I'm going to copy this start wireframe, and I am going to go to prototype again and connect this button to this one. So on tap, navigate to default. Animation is gonna be, I don't know, could be like slide in, why not? Let me just actually copy or remove the starting point from here to here. Yes, no interaction. All right, let me relaunch the prototype, reset, and go back to yes, no interaction. So now when I click on this, we get the interaction, right? The interaction UI, the decision UI. And I think this could actually go from below, slide in, or move in. What's the difference? Oh, I see. Slide in. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, I think this is pretty good. I think this is a pretty good interaction. The cross here, we could animate that and make it go back to the previous slide. So on tap, navigate to start, slide in, right? Let's see what that looks like. And it doesn't really make sense to, for this window to move in from below and then from the previous one to again move in from below. So that's why I'm going to probably go with the opposite direction, right? Because spatially, you see, spatially this makes more sense, right? Spatially this just makes more sense. All right, I'm just gonna now take this, Command C, select both of these, Command V, and this means that now that we decide for something, we're going to be able to close it again, right? Now that I think about it, it doesn't really make sense from this state, but there's going to be an automatic transition to another state. But from that state, this is going to transition into, then from there, the close button is going to make sense. All right. Okay. And I'm also thinking that with the yes interaction with the yes side of things, I think we could get some kind of a glow like this, you know, could be bigger. I don't know. Let's just try and see what that looks like. Similar with the no one, paste, flip. So what I did, I just got Command C, select frame, Command V, Shift V to flip, resize, you know, and then Command left bracket to move into the background, essentially. So what we should get is this, right? I think this is pretty nice because it kind of suggests what, you know, where is this interaction gonna take you. So I think I do like that. And yeah, I think I'm very happy with this. So now what I think we need to define is definitely this. So let me just duplicate the yes to yes02, right? And I think that what we should see in this screen is basically just this. Let's move this into the background, both of these to the background actually. We should move this to the bottom a little bit and then reduce the opacity to 0. So basically this is what we see, right? So basically we just see the yes option. Then I'm going to duplicate this text and say you chose, right? Move it to the top, Command Option right bracket, and then change the color to whatever this color is. And yeah, that is nice. And I'm just gonna borrow again this check mark from here, paste it in here, and resize it, move it here, center like that, at least approximately. You chose yes. All right, we could make this bold. And here's the thing, right? I want to make this transition as smooth as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select in prototype, I'm going to select yes01, connect that to yes02, and do after delay 0 or 1 millisecond, navigate to yes02. The animation is going to be smart animate, and we're going to get ease out. Let's try what that looks like. Okay. Decide. Yes. Decide. Yes. I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good actually. I just think it could be a bit snappier, a bit faster. So why don't we do 150 milliseconds? All right. So let's reset the interaction. Decide. Yes. I think this is nice. All right, I'm pretty happy with this in terms of interaction, not in terms of visual design, but never mind. Let's continue because we're just building the interactive prototype, right? Like wireframe essentially. And now let's copy no, and I'm going to call this no02. And what I'm going to do here is, again, I'm going to move this towards the top, the yes option, opacity to 0. Change this, you know, in size so that it's like larger, and then move this one below. And then again, I'm gonna borrow this one, this cross no here, and then center it. And again, do you chose no. All right. And I'm gonna do again, prototype, connect, trigger, after delay, 1 millisecond, navigate to no02, smart animate, ease out 150. And I think when you actually make a decision, the color of the decision should become more prominent. So why don't we simply enlarge it like this, probably, maybe. Yeah, and maybe increase the opacity of this gradient, and maybe actually decrease the opacity of this one on the previous one. And let's try it. Let's try it out. Reset, decide, yes. All right. Again, reset, decide, yes. I like this. And then decide no. You chose no. So in terms of interactivity, I like how we're interacting with this, but of course we're gonna have to take care of the visual design afterward, but this is a good start. And now I think that if you actually interact with this, right, if you decide, you can then close it and decide later. But if you decide for yes, you can then close it. But I was thinking that it could close on its own, right? It doesn't matter which decision you make, it should just continue on its own, right? I think that makes the most sense. Now I'm just gonna duplicate this again. Yes, and this actually should be no, and then this should be yes, and I'm thinking that we also need to, of course, replace you decided yes with, you decided no with this one, with the yes one. So again, Command C, select this, Command Shift R, and I'm thinking we could change the color of this white to this one, right? You decided yes. And then with this one, again, we could go for whatever is here, right? Just to somehow color match the previous screen. And now I'm gonna go to prototype again, select yes 02. I'm gonna connect this screen to yes and I'm going to do after delay. And this could actually be like 1200 milliseconds. Navigate to yes and it could be actually moving, and it could be from the top. Let's see what this does. This does. Yeah, it's gonna, no, that's gonna be slide in and from the top. So it's gonna be actually slide in from the top, slide in from the top. And then something similar here, of course. Connect after delay 1200, slide in from the top, and we're gonna get ease out, but not 150, but the same timing as here, which is gonna be 300 milliseconds. Okay, so let's go for 300 milliseconds. 300 milliseconds, and here as well, 300 milliseconds. 150 is way too fast. 300 milliseconds. Let's try it out. Reset, decide, yes, and then, okay, you decided yes. But what if I changed my mind? In that case, we're gonna have to select this in terms of, in prototype mode, actually both of these, select both of these, and then connect them to the first default screen. And we're gonna do on tap, navigate to default, and this one's gonna be slide in and from the up, right? So now we should have basically this entire interaction sketched out, or like we're now able to interact with this model that we have created. Let's try that. I have changed my mind. Do you agree? Yes, you chose yes. I've changed my mind and I wanted to go for no. You chose no and you decided no. I can keep changing my mind, which is awesome, and we can just go on forever deciding back and forth. So the user can both wait on this screen, or they can just be very quick and close it. You see, I wasn't fast enough. They can close this screen before this animation takes place, right? So they can wait, like I'm doing right now, or they can just close it immediately. But as you can see, if they close it from this state, then they go back here, which shouldn't be happening. They should go here instead, right? They should go back after they actually made the decision, and now they have to continue to the proper screen, not back to the previous one. Let's reset and let's try again. All right. Okay, so I am now quicker than the animation, and I still go to the correct slide, to the correct screen. All right, I am fairly happy with how this is turning out so far. I think we made big progress on this. We basically turned this, our idea from the last video, into a functional prototype. And this means that the first step is done and the second step is done, and what remains is the visual design. So in the upcoming video, maybe in the upcoming videos, we are gonna take a look at how we can make this really pretty and how we can, maybe fine-tune all these micro interactions and make it feel like a high-end, polished, well thought out and well-designed interaction, right? But overall, you can already see that whatever decision we're facing, this looks important. And it also looks kind of convenient to decide, right? There is no boring pop-up that says yes or no. A simple action like just saying yes or no to a question can be made more fun and engaging. And that's all there is to good design, in my opinion. Make it functional and delightful to use. That's what we are aiming for. That's what we're going to be working on in the next video. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you found this useful. If you did, please leave a like. Also, go and check out the playlist linked in the description for those of you who want to download this file and this interaction. Also, check the link in the description that takes you to my store, and I will see you in the next one.